Fulton coming to you on a Friday. That is right, a Red Friday edition of Mic'd Up. Thanks to all who are joining us today as we inch closer to the barn burner of a game between the Houston Texans, the Kansas City Chiefs. We got some good basketball coming up tomorrow. The Candy Stripers going up against the Jayhawkers. You got K-State, Nebraska on the basketball court, which no one cares about. Let's have that game be on the football field. But we'll get to that. We're going to talk with Ken Swanson, all things Chiefs. Stephanie Stradley, talking all things Texans. Everyone loves the list. I don't know about you, but my wife loves Christmas movies at this time, including the same basically type of movie on Hallmark or Lifetime. When it comes to those type of movies, if you've seen one Lifetime movie, you've seen them all at the Christmas time. Fulton, have you ever watched a Lifetime or a Hallmark Christmas movie?
Absolutely the hell not. I will never watch that cheesy crap.
No, you will if your wife asks you to. You will. It's so predictable.
It's cheesy. It's derivative. It's crappy writing. It's crappy storytelling. It's a terrible form for movies to take.
You just insulted.
I will die on that hill.
You just insulted every single woman.
I don't care.
All right.
Its writing is blasé and yuck.
No, it's just the same movie.
Yeah, that's what's boring and it stinks.
Yet almost 98% of women love them.
Good for them. I don't care.
Love them. Your opinion will change. You get married.
My opinion won't change. I'll just suffer through something that I hate. Like, the opinion won't change. I'll hate every minute of it.
It's not that bad. Plus, they're only an hour and a half, so it's not that long. But we got that. That'll be our list today. Christmas movies. We'll get to that. So join the fun. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Hit us up on our YouTube page, but you can also watch the show coming up on our website, 580 WIBW. Very simple, very easy. I just looked at the Big O Tires text line.
So did
Hardly a first for Fulton insulting every woman.
I mean, my existence is an insult to the female race. I do apologize.
So we got plenty to get to on this Red Friday edition. Let's kick things off, though, with our keys to the game. Number one for me, even though it probably doesn't matter because the Chiefs beat bad teams regardless of how many times they do turn it over, they still find a way to win. But just for one game, I would like them not to turn it over.
They haven't done it in 8 in a row.
Don't turn it over. That's more what I want to see. Just don't turn it over. If you don't turn it over, the game's over at halftime. The Texans have literally no good players playing. Damian Pierce, not playing. Brandon Cooks, not playing. They have nobody good. They run a 2-quarterback system. Their defense is one of the worst in the NFL. I don't care. They could turn it over 3 times and still win. I don't want them to turn it over. I just have some good mojo, maybe, with 4 straight games without a turnover. Let's try that. Let's try to secure the football. Let's don't throw interceptions. That's what I want to see. The keys to this game are just honestly don't get injured, and you're going to win the game. Because at least Dallas had no idea that they were going to run Wildcat and 2 quarterbacks. You know what I mean? The Chiefs can prepare for that now. Dallas also had to deal with apparently the second coming of Ickey Woods and Christian Okoye and just running over every Dallas Cowboy. How many broken tackles would Damian Pierce have had if he played on Sunday? Like 9, 10?
Something like that.
How many times it should have been a 2-yard gain and he gained like 12? Damian Pierce is a really good running back.
He's very good.
And he's a rookie. He's a rookie. He's basically like Isaiah Pacheco, except he started the entire year, but he runs hard. So they got nobody. But I don't want to see turnovers. I don't want to see them. Just one game. Don't do it.
Yeah, good luck with that. I got a bad feeling we're going to see 9 straight games with a turnover.
The odds are definitely in your favor.
Yeah, they are. My first key is a simple one, and it doesn't take a lot of explanation. Tackle. For the love of everything in existence, tackle for one game. This defense has been bullied, thrown around, pushed around by every offense they've faced the past few weeks. Tackle somebody. It's not hard. It is what you are paid to do.
It actually is hard for them to do, though.
For them, apparently, yes. But in the basic concept of things, as I've said numerous times, tackling at its simplest form, there's intricacies to every part of football. In its simplest form, though, tackling is you need to be tougher than the guy you're trying to hit.
I would agree with that for about, I think it's 60-40 toughness, and then some of it is technique.
No, I completely agree. No, I do.
Like Juan Thornhill.
His technique is trash.
Yeah, I'm going to dive at the ankles of Jamar Chase.
No, I agree. The technique does matter. I will never discount that. But there is a level to tackling that is just as simple. Because same method applies reverse to broken tackles. Sometimes all a broken tackle is you ran harder than the guy trying to hit you. You ran through it. I would like to see the Chiefs defense for once to be the tougher unit on the field.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with this. The reason why tackling is not good right now is because you don't practice it.
No, that's true.
And if I don't practice 5-footers in golf, I probably won't be very good at them. It's just like anything else. If you don't practice at it, unless you're one of them freaks who doesn't need practice and can just step up there and do everything, that's, and there are not many of those people, but they don't practice it. But also, what week are we in?
15?
Nobody's going to all of a sudden improve in tackling in week 15.
No, I know.
Because 1, your body is beat up. And 2, they don't practice it. And you're almost just trying to survive. Like the Chiefs' last 4 games, now that the Seahawks are kind of falling down a hill, it's just survive. Like the next 4 weeks, if the Bills don't lose a game, the whole point then is to just survive. No big key injuries. So like, I want them to tackle better. It would be nice of them to tackle better, but the odds kind of like the turnovers.
Yeah.
The odds are in my favor here, Fulton. We both got the one where we're like, yeah, it ain't going to happen, but I want it to happen. I mean, it would be nice.
It'd be nice.
It'd be nice. My next key, and it's actually a key to this game. No big plays. I don't know if Davis Mills or Jeff Driscoll or Kyle Allen, Rex Burkhead, I don't think you're going to all of a sudden just drive it and 11 plays and score a touchdown. No big plays. Don't give up, pass interference. It's just no big plays. Make a crappy team who will get the first pick in the draft, who will probably have a new head coach.
Oh, you mean you don't think this Lovie Smith thing's going to work out?
Absolutely not. But some people are like, oh, Lovey's in serious trouble. Lovey was in trouble when he signed the papers. He knew this was a 1-year deal. You think they're actually going to let Lovie Smith have an input on who they're going to take at quarterback with the first pick?
No.
Hell no.
No.
Here's your number 1 pick. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, whatever head coach who's coaching at the time is going to select the guy he likes best. End of discussion. But no big plays. Don't let Jeff Driscoll with a 20-yard run out of the Wildcat. You know what I mean? Don't let Rex Burkhead catch a screen pass that is reminiscent of Marlon Mack. Don't be doing that. You got to be better than that, So that's my problem with the Chiefs defense. So no big plays. And that does come along with, tackle better. I don't even know how long or how many drives the Texans had of 10 plays or more this year that resulted in a touchdown. I'm going to guess it's not many. So no penalties, big penalties, that type of thing. And the Chiefs will win the football game. The Chiefs are going to score 30 because the Texans stink and the Chiefs offense is good. But how the Texans, the line is 14. I would bet the Texans. But 14 points, I mean, the Chiefs could be up by, they could be up 34-17. Right?
Yeah.
That's a butt whooping. And then Texans score late because that's what the Chiefs do. No big plays. Key number 2. Really the biggest key.
Do you know how many touchdowns the Houston Texans have scored overall this year?
Let's see. How many games we played? We've played 13.
Sure, let's go with that number. Yeah, 13.
Aren't they 1-12?
They're 1-11-1.
Yeah, so 13. 13 to 26.
Wrong. You're too high.
I was like, you gotta give me a higher or lower here.
Too high.
4.
Now you're just being silly.
17.
A lot closer, but too low. 20. They have 20 touchdowns this year.
Not even 1.5 a game. And the Chiefs are going to let them score 24.
Yeah, probably, because that's the annoying way this works and is very frustrating and drives me crazy.
Over under Texans offensive total we'll go 18. Over or under 18.
Over.
Over. Gross.
This defense
without Dameon Pierce, like he was their offense against the the Cowboys.
Because they're not going to try.
Oh, the Chiefs defense?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Chiefs as a whole. This Chiefs team, you're about to, like, if y'all thought the Colts game was coasting, this team is about to coast in this game. we have a text from the Big Guitars text number 75 says, I just hope they don't take the Texans as lightly as they did the Broncos. Newsflash, they're taking them even lighter. Like, I don't disagree with you, Dexter, that they probably need to take them more seriously. They're not. Like, I'm mentally preparing you all. They're taking the Texans like it's going to be hilarious, like how frustrated everyone's going to get watching this game because the Chiefs are not going to take them seriously, and therefore some annoying things are going to happen. It's going to keep Houston in the game more than they should be. Like the Chiefs should win even on a D+ game with how big the disparity of talent is here, but they are not taking the Texans any level of seriously. They just aren't, and I wish teams would be more honest about that. My second key. I would like them to do it. They're not going to do it, though. Own the line of scrimmage on both sides. The Texans don't have a good offensive line. They don't have a good defensive line. Mahomes should face very little pressure in this game. You should be able to get a lot of pressure on Davis Mills. In theory, that's what you should be able to do. Whether we see it will remain to be seen, but this is a game that you should be able to have goodwill on both sides of the football. Your eyes just got very big.
Horrible news coming up.
Oh, no!
Do you remember the last time that the Chiefs played in a dome and they opened the roof? What happened? They opened the windows.
Wasn't great.
Colts.
Yeah.
They lost. The Houston Texans just announced that the roof at NRG Stadium is scheduled to be open for Sunday's game against the Chiefs if weather permits.
Man,
how are the Chiefs supposed to catch a football with potential sunlight being in there? Do you remember that? You remember Colts, like Chiefs fans were like, oh man, the sun was in people's eyes. You
Sun's
mean like
always in your eyes.
Every game at home at Arrowhead?
Sun's always in your eyes.
I couldn't believe that was a talking point. I wanted to smack everybody who brought that up. Well,
I would have wanted to rock them in the face.
The roof is going to be open.
For what it's worth, Patrick Mahomes has played 2 games in his career in a stadium with a retractable roof. He is 1-1.
Lost to the Colts.
I would have to assume that's the only
one.
But
that's not a retractable roof. That's they open up the windows. Or like they open up the side.
Well, no, that roof can't open. It's still technically an opening of a roof, therefore it's a retractable roof. It's not a full dome.
Yeah. Okay.
Dome was meaning it's a full dome. Like
Gotcha.
you can't ever get anything in there. I think that's how Pro Football Reference is defining this. They don't tell me what stadiums these are. I just have his records for outdoors retro roofs and domes. But dang it, the roof's going to be
hammer the Texans.
Darn.
14 points. That's a lot of points. Man, that's a lot of points. Alrighty. Big Chief. You ready for this?
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the game that Juju breaks out again. All right. Give me Juju Smith-Schuster as my Big Chief. I think he's going to have a good game. But when you look at it, he had 33, 38, 35. Did have 74 against the Broncos. But I think it's going to be a big one. I think you're going to see Juju when he ended up with 113, 124, 88. Give me Juju Smith-Schuster as my Big Chief.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
And another reason why I'm going with this, I plan on this anyways. And then my wife asked me, hey, who should I have in? She picked Juju Smith-Schuster for her little weekly fantasy deal where they do it by week.
Yeah.
You don't do it by season. Yeah. And so she says, is that a good pick? I said, yeah. I go, the Chiefs offense taking on the Texan defense is not any good. Kelsey will probably have a good day, but that's too much for her. Like, she can't afford Kelsey.
Yeah.
So she said she went with Juju, and I said, yeah, that's a good pick. So now, if he balls out and has like 90 yards and a tutty, then I look really smart, and my wife thinks I'm smart. So
that's a good way to be.
I hope he has a good game. Therefore, my wife will go, wow, you're really smart.
She doesn't say that phrase too often, probably.
No.
My Big Chief in this game, I've been complaining a lot about tackling. So Nick Bolton's my Big Chief. He should be spurring the toughness of this defense. I want to see him have like a 15 tackle game. Go be impressive.
I don't think there's a chance well, here's the thing. He actually might, because if they do run the Wildcat with Driscoll, there's a legitimate chance that that he could end up with a bunch of tackles.
Yeah.
Like that for real. Like that very well could happen.
Overall set of numbers, it's a mentality thing, and I think Nick Bolton can set that tone.
How many times did Driscoll run it against
I knew he's 4 for 6 passing.
He ran it 7 times. But that was pre they had Damon Pierce. They don't have Damon Pierce.
Yeah.
And they released Benjamin.
Yeah, they did.
So maybe it's gonna be Driscoll left, Driscoll right, Burkhead left. I mean,
Rex Burkhead and Dare Ogumbawale.
Ogumbawale. Is it Dare?
Yeah, Dare Ogumbawale.
Not Dare?
No, it's Dare.
He was not good. He had 1 carry for -3 yards.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to get a lot more carries.
Well, Rex Burkhead had 2 carries for -3 yards.
Yeah, they're both good. A lot more carries than this one.
We got a lot more to get to. Coming up, though, what I've been hoping for when it comes to the bowl games. Big news. For now, things can change. I think they might. But we'll get to the news next. This would happen, and as of 12/28 on December 16th, it might be K-State, Bama, Sugar Bowl. As of this time of writing, key point there's an expectation that Alabama will not have any opt-outs for the bowl game. Practice begins Friday, and every player who isn't injured is expected to participate. There's still a couple of weeks until the bowl, so things can change in terms of whether a player is playing or not. But as of now, they're not expected to be any opt-outs. Yes! Will Anderson, Bryce Young, we're going to see where K-State is going up against Bama. Here's the thing. This is important, and I do get this. I guarantee you Nick Saban went to his guys and said, look, practice starts Friday. You better not screw this team over and take 2 weeks of practice from a teammate of yours if you plan on leaving in a week. Like, I can see Nick Saban doing that. Hey, if you're going to practice Friday, do not take reps from guys who are going to be playing in the bowl game. He better looked Will Anderson and Bryce Young in the face and said, look, if you take reps, you're selfish. Go to the NFL draft. That's not a problem. I would do that if I was Bryce Young. You're going to be the first or second pick. I would do that. But don't take reps. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
I hope
they're also not going to play the game.
I hope they do, but I just think that's very selfish if they don't. Coming up next, we're going to talk all things hoops. In Houston, and they're opening the roof. Doomed. It's too cold, man. Opening the roof. Plus, you got
58.
No, that's what. I mean, they're opening the roof at 58.
58 is too cold.
That's why I'm surprised they're opening the roof at 58. Them people are in Houston, Texas, where it's warm like 99% of the year.
Put on a light jacket, you'll be fine.
Oh, I'd be fine. It's 58. I'm just saying, man, it seems a bit chilly down there in Houston to open up the roof. Why do you think they're doing that?
They're weaklings if they think 58 is too cold. They're cowards.
Have you ever met anybody from Southern Texas?
No, I haven't.
They don't like the cold.
Well, then they're cowards and they're weaklings.
They're opening the roof.
Yes.
Just because they're going to bank on the Chiefs' offense is going to struggle.
That is a conspiracy theory level take.
We'll find out.
They're opening the roof because the weather's going to be nice.
58 ain't nice in Houston.
Yes, it is.
Not in Houston.
Well, then Houston needs to get tougher people.
That is a completely different discussion. I'm telling you, 58 in Houston is cold.
I'm telling you that Houston.
That is a completely different topic, Fulton.
That was not.
Yes, it really is. Let's get to some hoops, because there actually is basketball this weekend.
There's a lot of great basketball this weekend.
You could argue that this Saturday and Sunday might be one of the best weekends in sports, because there's
up there.
The big time games. You got some big time hoops games. You got the World Cup. There are a lot of big games You know what I mean? So, I mean, UAB Miami going on right now in the Bahamas Bowl. You got to figure if you're a player, that's got to be like the ultimate goal. Like if you're not going to make the playoff,
Go to the Bahamas
just send
Bowl.
me to the Bahamas Bowl, man. You ever been?
It's like 80 some degrees there.
You ever been to the Bahamas?
No,
I haven't either. I'd like to go.
Yeah,
I'd like to go.
Yeah.
We will start out with the game that's first. 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. Why are you playing a basketball game at 11? That's
ridiculous. Take
ridiculous.
the under in that game.
KU taking on the Candy Stripers out of Indiana. So Hoosiers versus Jayhawks. When I look at this game, it's always fascinating to me to see what the game plan is because Indiana has a really good player in Jackson Davis. He doesn't shoot the three. And normally you got to shoot the three, but, and he's not, like a Zach E where he's like 7'8".
Yeah.
But he's 6'10", and he's really good.
Yeah, Trace Jackson Davis, very good.
Really good. How does KU defend him? Or how do they defend the Hoosiers? Do they say, hey, can Johnson and Kopp, their two next best players, beat us? Or do you say, hey, Jackson Davis, we'll let you go for 25 and we are going to lock up everybody else? I wonder how they're going to do that. Normally, Bill Self says we're gonna key in on their best player.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Johnson or Kopp, who averages like 10, those two combined for 10, Jackson Davis averages almost 20. How they're going to do it? I would put. I don't know if I would not put Jalen Wilson on Jackson Davis because I don't want Jalen Wilson to get in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Because if Wilson gets in foul trouble, KU gets zero production from their bench. You know how bad KU's bench is right now?
It's not great.
No, it's like Detroit Lions defense bad.
Yeah.
They're ranked in the 300s in KenPom in bench production.
Yeah, that tracks.
There are only 355 teams, I believe.
Yeah.
Actually. How many are
353?
There are 363. Ooey Pooey is ranked 363.
IUPUI.
Yeah, Ooey Pooey.
IUPUI.
So KU bench production wise is pretty much like Bethune-Cookman or Stonehill or Chicago State. There's a good one because they suck at everything. So I don't want Jalen Wilson guarding Trace Jackson Davis. I don't.
Yeah.
So do you put McCullough on him? Do you put KJ Adams and say, KJ, if you foul a whole bunch, we really don't care. We'll bring in somebody else. And that's the one thing for KU, not in this game, is just in the future going forward. But KU's bench is bad. You can't go an entire year with your starters playing 32, 33 minutes because that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Now, it helps getting Bobby Pettiford back.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I don't know if Uday is ever going to get it to click at this point in time. I'm not for sure, but that's a problem. They have zero bench. I mean, nothing. I mean, their bench is scoring like 10 points a game. That's it. So they score 75. The starters have to score 65. That's a lot of points for the starters. No. You'd like to get 20 points from your bench. That's what you'd like to get.
You'd like to get it.
They ain't getting no 20 points a game off the bench. What was KU's one of their best games this year? What do you think it was?
I mean, they dropped 95 against Missouri.
Okay. We'll look at that because that's a lot of points. The bench in that game for KU scored
9 points.
9 points. And three of them coming from Jankovic. Those don't count. So
yeah, Jake's buckets never count.
Their bench, they had 6 points. 6 against Missouri's non-defensive butt. That has to change.
No, it does. It is.
I mean, it doesn't have to, but if you want to be as good as you think the Jayhawks can be, it's got to be better than that. It really
Because
does.
like in Seton Hall, you had 23 points from your bench. That's perfect.
That's excellent. Excellent. So that is what I would like in the loss to Tennessee. How many bench points did the Jayhawks have? Oh, snap. Yesufu went off for 14 in that game.
Yeah, he was 14 of the 16 bench points.
And, everybody sucked in that game, to be honest with you.
Trust me. Every single player for KU.
That's what KU needs to do. KU has to try to find some type of bench production. Cam Martin is sick. I mean, what are we going to do there?
Let me play you a sad song on the world's tiniest violin.
Cam Martin not getting her done. So that's what KU needs. I think KU is going to win this game. I really do. So I'm going to take
the Hawks over the Who's.
Yeah, I think so. The line might be out because it's an 11 o'clock tip off, but it also might not, to be honest with you, because that's pretty much just how it is. Yeah, nope, the line not out yet. So KU taking on the Hoosiers. What about Kansas State? K-State, you can hear that game coming up tomorrow. 5 o'clock pregame, 6 o'clock tip. K-State and Nebraska are playing each other. In Kansas City at the T-Mobile Center or T-Mobile Arena, whatever you want to call it.
I think it's now the T-Mobile Center.
Yeah, T-Mobile Arena is in Vegas, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
This might be the second or third best team that K-State has played this year.
Yeah.
I mean, their schedule has not been difficult, and we know why. First-year head coach, a lot of transfers. You want it to be a little bit better. But Nebraska is ranked 80th in KenPom. K-State's ranked 55th. But Nebraska...
Because Butler's 70th.
Mm-hmm. And then LSU that they beat...
LSU is 66.
Yeah, I think that might be their best or highest ranked team that they've played.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, Nebraska, who's 6-5, they've played 6 top 50 teams.
Yeah, Nebraska's played some good teams.
They played just an insane schedule. They beat Creighton.
Yep, that was a big win. Beating Creighton, a good Creighton team.
They lost to Indiana.
They got trounced by Indiana.
And then they lost to Purdue by 3
in overtime.
So
the fact they took Purdue to OT was insane.
And they've also played Memphis, who's a top 30 team. Oklahoma, low-key, 34th. Okay? So they've played a really, really tough schedule. I don't know what they're thinking, but they're 6-5 against that decent schedule. And beating Creighton, in case they didn't have a win like that. I mean, Nebraska has beaten, at least a top 20 team in Creighton, whereas K-State's best win is LSU. So I think this is going to be a low scoring game, y'all. I bet the over under on this one's like 120. No joke.
I might still take the under.
No joke. Nebraska's offense stinks. They're not good. K-State's offense, if K-State's offense is 30 teams or 30 points better than you, then your offense stinks. Because K-State's offense is, we're athletic and we've got Keontae Johnson and maybe we'll be really good as if Noel is on fire. The fact that Nebraska's offense is 30 positions lower, that tells me you stink. And K-State's defense is good.
Yeah.
K-State defense is good considering the pieces that they got. So this puppy's going to be a low-scoring affair. I mean...
Plus, these are two slow playing teams. They are both very slow on the tempo chart.
Yeah. I think K-State needs to win this game.
Yes.
I think this is an important one to win if we're talking NCAA tournament resumes and all that.
Because if you win this game and then you should be able to beat Radford, you're going to finish your non-con because the Big 12 SEC Challenge is played in January, which I still hate.
Who do they play in that one again?
They play Florida this year. so winnable game.
Mm-hmm.
Because man, Florida's not been great at basketball this year.
Where's that at? Where's that game at?
I think it's at Florida.
Oh,
I can figure that out real quick. No, it's in Manhattan.
Oh, that would have been awesome because then
yeah, I can't take it and go back and play in Gainesville. But no, you would like to enter essentially conference play at 11-1. Even then, at worst, you're your non-con's 11-2. That lets you finish about 8-8.
No, you got to be more than that. You play more than 16 games.
Oh, you play 18 games.
Yeah.
My math is always real bad. So 8-10. 8-10, 9-9. But it lets that be feasible. I'm not saying that gets you in. I'm saying that you be feasible.
K-State goes 11-1 in non-con, and their best win is LSU.
Yes, which is a perfectly fine win.
I don't think you can go 8-10 and get in.
As of now, probably not. You would need help from the teams you beat getting better. Their schedule is being weighed down by Cal right now, who's one of the only winless teams left in college basketball.
So I think it also depends on who they beat. If they beat,
it depends on who they beat. It depends on a lot of factors. But being 11-1 or even 11-2 in non-conference play, it allows 8-10 to be a feasible finish. You want to do better, and the better you can. But depending on who you beat, when you beat them, and how much better your non-conference starts to look as those teams play through. Because maybe LSU goes crazy and they finish one of the best teams in the SEC.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of factors.
Looks better. So
I'm just saying, if status quo stays the same,
you got to do better than 8-10.
You got to go 9-9.
I completely agree.
You got to go 9-9.
But the more wins you can rack up in the non-con, the better chance you can not have to have an amazing season in the Big 12 and get to go to the NCAA tournament in Tang's first year.
I think if they beat Nebraska and they go 9-9 and you've got a win over KU, you need two good wins, two really good wins, I think. Because if you beat up, on the bottom of the barrel in the Big 12 and you go 9-9 and you got like 4 wins against like West Virginia and Iowa State.
Yeah.
And then you get a win against Texas Tech and a win against Oklahoma State. That's probably not going to get her done.
I mean, they're going to get 2 good shots right off the rip because 2 of their first 3 games are at Texas and at Baylor. Woo-hoo-hoo. Like, those are 2 of their first 3 conference games.
Mm-hmm. I think both KU and K-State win this weekend. I think KU is just going to be too much for Indiana. And plus, Indiana's not big. I think the biggest issue for KU is if you've got a good guard and you got good bigs, because that's what Tennessee did. Tennessee just overwhelmed KU. I would have lost a lot of money if KU's point total this year, if they would have scored 50. I mean, they almost didn't even get to 50. They almost got they were at 49.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but I think both KU and K-State get to win. I think that's a good weekend for hoops for the Sunflower State. I think it's going to be a good one. Coming up next, here's what I would do if I was the Big 12 commissioner, Brett Yormark. We'll get to that coming up next. We're going to get to Kent Swanson in the 1 o'clock hour, and Steph Stradley, who covers the Texans for the Houston Chronicle, in the 2 o'clock hour. But some news among the Big 12. The headline: momentum growing towards Texas, Oklahoma leaving the Big 12 for SEC in time for the 2024 season. Sooners and Longhorns are currently slated to join the league no later than 25. Sources told The Athletic momentum is growing within the Big 12, that the two schools will strike a deal to make the move 1 year before the self-imposed deadline. Administrators of the two schools were recused from certain meetings in Las Vegas this week that dealt with future plans of the conference. A big part of the process surrounds television. The Big 12's new grant of rights starts in 2025, while the SEC's new media rights begin in 2024. The Big 12 would take a 1 year financial hit if the two teams leave early, but some of that could be negotiated. Plus, if Texas and Oklahoma do stay in the Big 12 for the duration of the contract, there will be an awkward 2 year period in which the two schools will be in the conference after it adds the 4 teams. According to Brett McMurphy, there's a lot of moving points, but there is a desire on many fronts for this to get done. Here's what I do if I'm Brett Yormark. I'm going to take a look at that television contract with ESPN and Fox, and I'm going to look at it. I open it up. A lot of writing. I have my lawyers read it with me, maybe even read it out loud. And if it doesn't say Texas and Oklahoma get to leave to go to the SEC in 2024, right? It's in there because ESPN has all the rights to the SEC. The Big 12 got a new contract, right? And a good one. You know, if you include the college football playoff and basketball, the NCAA tournament, you're going to get $50 million, which is good for the Big 12. It's not the SEC or the Big 10. We get that. I'm so sick of all the Pac-12 people going, it's not good. We ain't the SEC or the Big 12. That's good for the Big 12. If it isn't in that contract, I look at Chris Del Conte. I look at Casta, the Oklahoma president, and Joe Castiglione, and I say, did we make an agreement in the contract? No. Pay me what you're supposed to pay, and then you chuck up the deuces and you walk out. Why would I help out Texas or Oklahoma at this point? Why would you?
There's no incentive to.
You signed a contract.
Yeah.
You're going to pay us what we want. Otherwise, you're in the, it might be awkward for 2 years. I don't give a damn. I don't care.
I just want my money.
Give us the money. You signed a contract. It can be negotiated. If they have to owe, $70 million or $60 million or $50 million or whatever it is for that last year, and you want to, give them a little bit of a break, instead of, let's say it's 50, right? They play in 2023, and then in 2024, let's say it's 50. If you're like, all right, we'll let you go for 45. We'll be nice. I wouldn't. I'd say, let's see. Oh, yeah, binding contract. You owe us the grant of right. Yeah. I ain't helping you out. Why would they? Now, ESPN could have a say in this. Say, hey, we'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. If there is something else that's a different variable that benefits the Big 12, then I'm understanding. Hey, you get to do this. You get to do that. That will, change it instead of 50 million. I'm just guessing here. 50 million.
Yeah.
Just putting out a number. You can do it for 30. But we get this, and this. Then I'd say, okay, let's do it. But if there's nothing like that, Pay me. Pay that man his money. Coming up next, we are going to go around the NFL and then have our Everyone Loves the List. Number 2 of Mic'd Up on this Red Friday edition. Thanks for stopping by, hanging out with us. Jake LeBon along with Fulton Caster. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Check us out on our website, which you can watch the show. Very simple, very easy. Go to 580wibw.com, 580wibw.com, and you can check us out right there on the homepage. Leave us a comment in the section if you would like. Always enjoy that, plus phone calls, everything. 785-272-9429. We'll get to Everyone Loves the List, our favorite Christmas movies. And
Excited for Jake to name a movie that isn't a Christmas movie.
No, all 4 of mine are. All 4 of mine are. No question about it. Then we'll talk with Ken Swanson. But we're going to start this hour with a little look-see at the NFL schedule. Last night, the 49ers beat the Seahawks 21-13, and everybody's going goo-goo and gaga over Brock Purdy. You do realize that you're going goo-goo and gaga over a guy that who led his team to 14 points. Do you realize that?
Yeah, I know people are.
The 21 points was the defense was responsible for 7 of those. Big hit by the defense of the 49ers. Former Chief Charvarius Ward returns it to about like the 6, and then just handed it off twice to McCaffrey. So we're going goo-goo and gaga over a guy who scored 14 points. You won because your defense is nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, Afunga, they're really good. Bosa, I mean, they're good.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be acting like, don't go. You can't. I don't even care if they did drive at 3. You scored 21, and now you guys are going, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? It does make it interesting, though, that you mortgage the future for Trey Lance, and he hasn't even played in 2 years. Maybe Brock Purdy's going to be the guy. Are you going to trade Trey Lance?
I'm not going to dignify that moronic comment with a response.
Okay. All right. Buddy going crazy over Brock Purdy, man.
Saw a tweet yesterday about Brock Purdy's Rookie of the Year odds, and I wanted to punch my computer screen.
Defensive Rookie of the Year is Sauce Gardner.
Probably it should be. Yeah, I'd give it to Sauce.
Who else is going to get it? Aiden Hutchinson?
He's going to be in the conversation.
Okay,
I don't agree with it, but it could
Who's the offensive
be.
Rookie of the Year? Or, yeah, who's the offensive Rookie of the Year?
That's a good question.
Garrett Wilson? Chris Olave? Ohio State former wide receiver?
Yeah, insert Ohio State wide receiver here.
Dameon Pierce had a chance, I think, before he got hurt.
Yeah, Dameon Pierce getting hurt. I want to see if I can find the odds for that right now.
While you're doing that,
Yeah, well, while I look this up,
While
what big games do we have in the NFL this week? While I look
we
this up?
do have some fun games in the NFL. No more buys. Everybody's playing now. There are 2 big games and then a fun one. Like a fun one that what's gonna happen. But the biggest game, I don't think it's gonna be a game. Miami heading north, and they're gonna play in Winter Wonderland. That is Orchard Park, and the Bills. That's 7:15 tomorrow on NFL Network. I think Buffalo's gonna whoop up on Miami. Miami is a warm weather team. I think Buffalo wins this game, and you ready for this? I think they win it by 10.
Oh wow!
I think they roll. I don't think Miami is ready at all for that weather, and I know Josh Allen's built for it. Buffalo's defense is way better. Miami's defense, nah. The game that you are going to be hoping for when it comes to a Buffalo loss is very simple. It's in 3 weeks on January 2nd when they take on the Bengals in Cincinnati. That's the game that you hope the Bengals can find a win.
Because then Buffalo takes a loss, but should hopefully propel you to the 1 seed. And then plus it gives the Bengals a better chance at winning their division, which puts them in a point where they'll probably play the Bills before they have to play either, and one of them knocks out the other.
So what makes it interesting, how big is that game going to be? That Bengals Bills game in 2 weeks will not only determine the 1 seed, it'll determine the 2 seed. There's a chance that Buffalo has to go on the road in the divisional round to Cincy, because whoever wins that, they got the tiebreaker.
Yeah,
so
they do.
That's so big. But Miami, nah, ain't gonna happen. Tua's starting to struggle, and I think the weather's gonna be a big factor. So if this game were in Miami, they beat the Bills in Miami, I think that'd be a difference. Remember that was the game. There was like so many defensive plays, and Stephon Diggs was like, I've never been more tired and sore after that game. Remember that?
Yeah.
That ain't gonna happen this time. I think the Bills win this one, and they win it by double digits. But that is the biggest one in the NFL and affecting the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, it does. Bills and Dolphins matters a lot, and the Dolphins are being figured out. They're being figured out, and part of it is just get real physical with their wide receivers, throw off the timing, and it's really messed up with Tua. Yep. And then as I noted earlier this week, in the past 2 weeks, the Dolphins' shortest touchdown's 45 yards.
Yep.
They can't drive.
And here's another low key. This is a big game for what you want the Chiefs to do. Dream scenario. Chiefs 1 seed, Bengals 2 seed or 3 seed, but this would help out the Bills because Baltimore takes on Cleveland. Big game, because if Baltimore loses and the Bengals continue to play, not only do the Bengals have a 1-game lead, but that gives them if Baltimore does lose. And Baltimore, I think they're going to leak some oil.
Yeah.
But I think that is the second biggest game in the NFL involving the Chiefs. I think that's a big one.
I also just found our offensive rookie of the year odds.
Who are we forgetting? Here. Is it obvious?
Not. I wouldn't call it obvious. Number 1 on the odds for offensive rookie of the year is Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, okay.
Plus 150. Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner are your number 1 odds getters right now for offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
And they're
on the same team having the offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
Jets if Zach Wilson was just
Average.
average. Do you know how good this team would be?
Good. They'd be so good.
And they're doing this without the guy who's probably leading for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Breece Hall.
In Breece Hall.
Yeah, they're doing this other talented rookie they had in Breece Hall. The Jets had a really good draft this year.
Yeah.
Also, offensive rookie of the year, Chris Olave, like we noted. Christian Watson is the second best odds for offensive rookie of the year. Having 8 touchdowns in like a 6-week span
big
helps.
deal. Yeah.
Having a gajillion touchdowns in that span very much helps. But yeah, that's your rookie of the year update because apparently we needed that real quick.
What is your biggest games not involving Buffalo, Miami, or Cleveland and Baltimore?
For me, Bengals-Bucks is important because the Bengals need to keep winning.
Yeah.
If
the Bengals lose this game, then
you got some problems.
Well, then you're probably facing the Bengals if Buffalo loses in the divisional round.
Yep. Even for the Chiefs, you want the Bengals to win. And then also on the Bucs side of things, they're trying to win a division. If let's say the Bucs lose and the Panthers beat the Steelers. Let's play with that scenario.
Okay.
That's 2 teams at 6-8 leading the division. Then let's say the Falcons win. That's 3 teams at 6-8 at first place in the NFC South. That's a big game for both teams. The Bucs need a win, but also the Bengals need a win. And then Sunday Night Football will probably not be the most entertaining game to watch, but it's an important game. It's Giants Commanders.
Yes, that was going to be my low-key important.
Again, that probably won't be an entertaining game to watch.
They're going to be close, though.
It's going to be close, and it matters. There is a lot of stakes in Giants Commanders on Sunday night.
You want to be hilarious is if they tie again, because if they tie again, that would actually be a bad thing.
If they tie again, I'm hurting someone.
But right now, they're all in.
Yeah.
Cowboys are the 5 seed, Commanders 6, Giants 7. The Seahawks, all right, they are struggling.
They're on the struggle bus.
They're going to lose to the Chiefs.
Probably.
Because they're in a free fall. And by the way, Tyler Lockett broke his middle finger. Hopefully he can get back and play in Kansas City. That way
those odds are very slim, though.
According to Pete Carroll, he's only going to miss 1 game and could be back next week.
I mean, one game they would miss
is
the Chiefs. They've already played this week.
Oh, yeah.
He broke it in the game.
That's right.
If he's missing one game, he's missing the Chiefs game.
That's right. Never mind. Why did I think they played last night? Why am I thinking they're going to play tomorrow?
I have zero idea, Jake. I'm very confused.
That's a quick turnaround. Thursday to Sunday.
Tyler Lockett is most likely not playing in Kansas City. So if you're a K-State fan, you're going to see Lockett play.
That sucks.
Bummer.
I like Tyler Lockett.
I do too.
So Seattle's not going to beat the Chiefs.
Probably not.
So they're going to be 7-8.
Yep.
And that hurts them even more because they're still behind either one of the Commanders or the Giants because of that tie.
And then whatever the Lions start doing.
And the Seahawks play, they got the Chiefs and the Jets. That Jet defense really, really good, but their offense is just so bad.
And now it's back under Zach Wilson, at least for this week.
Yeah, so I don't know if the Seahawks can get there, but whoever wins this between the Commanders and the Giants,
they all but punch their ticket to the playoffs?
I think so, because the Seahawks are going to lose to the Chiefs, so they're going to be 7-8. Let's say the Giants win. They're going to be 8-5-1.
Yeah.
So the Seahawks would have to win out, and then the Giants are still good. So the loser of the Giants-Commanders game kind of depends on the rest of the schedule. The Giants have the Vikings, Colts, and Eagles. The Eagles aren't going to try in that last game because they'll have the number 1 seed locked up.
Oh, yeah.
The Colts aren't any good.
Nope.
So you've got the Vikings, and they might win their last 2 for the Giants with the Colts and the Eagles. For the Commanders, they finish with the 49ers. You ain't winning that one. The Browns and the Cowboys. The Cowboys
might not be trying that game because they're probably going to have a playoff spot locked up.
Well, and they can't get the 1 seed. They can't win their division.
Yeah, it'll come down to if they have other seeds to play for between the 2 through the 4. 2 and the 3, really. Because the 4 is locked. Well, no, sorry.
No,
They can't
because
win the division, so
they can't win the division.
And they're probably going to be guaranteed the 5 on the wild card spot. Saying, yeah, the Cowboys really won't have much to play for at that point.
Now, can the Cowboys catch the Eagles?
Technically, they're only 2 games back.
Because they play each other.
Like, technically is the word I would use. Because if the Cowboys win, then they need the Eagles to, at that point, because then I think...
They need the Eagles to lose to either the Saints or the Giants.
Yeah, they would need the Eagles to lose one of 2. So, I mean, it changes some calculus if Dallas beats Philly next week.
Well, what's their divisional record?
They're both 3-1.
Yeah.
Like,
if the
calculus gets really tricky.
If the Eagles win against the Cowboys, they're easily not going to play their no. If the Eagles win the Cowboys, they could honestly not play their starters for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
because they'd have it locked up. Yeah, because you own the tiebreaker, and there's only 2 games left, and you'd be 3 games up.
Yeah, so
they could play the Saints, Giants, and then the bye week. It could be a month. They're not going to do that, obviously, but that'd be wild. Yeah, this could be another fun week. It really, really could. Yeah, that tie is so big. The Lions are going to have to win out if they want to make the playoffs, I think. And
Lions 100% have to win out if they want to make the playoffs.
What are they? What's their record?
They're 6-7. 9-8, given the way the rest of the NFC is shaking out.
No, if they win out, they're 10-7. 10 wins get you the playoffs.
That's what I said. They need to win out.
Yeah.
If they become 9-8, that's when you get a problem.
You know what I want to have happen?
What's that?
I want the Lions to take on the Packers in Green Bay. And the scenario is Lions win, they go to the playoffs. Because Brennan just calls the Lions the most useless franchise in NFL history.
Yes.
Which they're not wrong.
He loves to mock them.
He is 1,000% correct.
Yes, he is.
But that would be hilarious if, in order for the Lions to go to the playoffs,
they have to beat Green Bay.
They have to beat Green Bay. And if they do it, it'd be hilarious because then we can poke fun at Brendan.
You can poke fun at Brendan. I'm not going to poke fun at him.
I know, because you're soft. So,
because I'm nice.
But how about this, though? This would even
polite.
This is even better. Let's say the Lions have to do it. Brendan would be insufferable then because he's going to be like, Lions, even where we don't even make the playoffs, trash team, and the Lions can't beat us in our worst year to go to the playoffs. That would also make me laugh as well.
It would.
I hope that happens. I hope that situation does occur. That, and I hope Carolina ends up. That would make me so happy, is if Carolina overtakes Tampa.
It's hard to get both your realities because those 2 teams play each other next week.
Who?
Lions and Panthers.
No. I need somehow make it work. That
tie?
Yes. That way, Tom Brady doesn't go to the playoffs.
Oh, that would delight me.
Oh,
man comes back, sacrifices his entire personal life, and doesn't get to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. Oh, man.
Oh, it'd be joyous. There was the video going around of Tom signing the football for Dre Greenlaw after he got a pick, and someone was like, man, how can you hate Tom Brady? And I just wanted to, I don't get into fights on the internet, folks. It's not worth your time. But I'm just like, oh, it's really easy to still hate him sometimes. Like, I don't care that he signed a football for somebody. There's still plenty of reasons why I can still hate the guy. Cool. He signed a football because he threw a pick. Does not overshadow all the other terrible things he can sometimes do to be it.
Coming up next, we've got our Everyone Loves a List Christmas movie edition. That's next. Everyone loves the list. Christmas movie edition. That is what we are going with. So, Fulton, what do you got?
Number 4 for me on favorite Christmas movies. I'm an It's a Wonderful Life guy. I love It's a Wonderful Life. It's a great movie. Very enjoyable.
Okay. Number 4 for me, I've watched it a lot recently. My son has really taken to it so much that he's quoting the movie already.
Good.
Walking down the hallway, he was going to bed 2 nights ago. I said, tell your mom I love you. And what does he do? He goes, I love you. I love you. I love you. You know the movie?
It's Elf.
Elf, exactly.
Yeah.
He loves Elf. He tries to do the jumping on the sidewalk or the walkway in the house down the hallway. So Elf, number 4 for me. It is a good, really good movie.
Elf is fantastic. That's why it's my number 3.
Okay,
Elf is a fantastic Christmas movie. It's very enjoyable. Very happy times.
Number 3 for me, Die Hard. That is my number 3. It is Die Hard.
Oh man.
Ho ho ho! Now I've got a gun.
I had a feeling Die Hard was going to be in here.
He was wearing the Santa Claus costume.
Yeah.
So yes, number 3, Die Hard. It is a Christmas movie.
I knew that was coming, and it just delights me. Number 2 for me. This is the best version of this story that can be told, and everyone should watch it this way. A Muppet Christmas Carol. That is a great movie. It is legitimately enjoyable. I am telling you. I'm telling you.
Zero chance that I'm watching that movie.
Yes.
No.
Your children would love it. They would love A Muppet Christmas Carol. It's a great movie.
Yeah, my kids would. I
unironically watch that every Christmas.
No. Number 2 and number 1 were no questions asked. Christmas Vacation. Chevy Chase, Randy Quaid. Come on, man. That's a classic. An absolute classic.
I had a feeling you'd be a Christmas Vacation guy.
It's a great movie. Great movie. A lot of sap. Kind of full. A lot of sap. Great movie.
That doesn't surprise me. Number 1 for me is very easy. It's my favorite Christmas movie of all time, and it's a movie I watch every single Christmas without fail, and I'm happier the more streaming services are adding it to make it easier to watch. Miracle on 34th Street.
Your 4 Christmas movies are like super Christmassy.
Yes.
Like as Christmassy as it gets.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Miracle on 34th Street. It is a fantastic film.
I feel like you right now. I have not seen that.
Really?
Yeah, I've not seen that.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
Now you know how I feel like when I'm like,
you need to watch it.
I'm
talking about the old school original one, like the old one.
Now you know how I feel because every movie I say, you're like, I haven't seen that one.
Not always. Decent amount of time, though.
Number one for me, it came out in 1991, and that was when, I was about 7 years old. It's Home Alone, man. The original OG Home Alone. It is a terrific movie. Could not happen today, but that's not why we love it. Because if that happens today, you send your mom a text, hey, you left me. Movie over. But no, Home Alone, fantastic. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Kent Swanson. I always love talking with Ken. Good insight there. He does think the Bills are going to lose. Chiefs get the 1 seed. That would be great. It's not going to happen tomorrow, though. Bills going to roll against the Dolphins. Do you like my comparison to Home Alone and Die Hard? Home Alone is considered an all-time Christmas movie.
No, I get your logic, and I think your logic is correct.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there are different things. It's surrounding Christmas.
Yeah, so I get your logic.
It's a Christmas movie. So use that in your next family discussion to get people heated and upset. It's very simple. Die Hard, Christmas movie. That's why Die Hard is one of the greatest films of all time. It can be a Christmas movie. It's the true first ever action thriller, and you've never seen it.
Correct.
See? I've never seen Miracle on 34th Street.
I've never seen Die Hard.
That's more of an egregious, decision.
That's your opinion.
Coming up next, Steph Stradley from the Houston Chronicle joins us here on Mic'd Up. of Mic'd Up. Thank you so much for joining us. Jake Levon, Fulton Caster with you. It's the final hour of this work week. We appreciate you joining us as always. We will get to our mulligan, our on second thought. How fun was that Ken Swanson actually got freezing cold taped? That's hilarious.
Happens to the best of them.
That's fantastic. That's why we have this segment. I am glad we have a chance that we can do a little mea culpa, because I got a pretty bad one now that I've looked more into it. I was a bit in the moment, a little bit too harsh. So we'll get to that coming up today. We will also get to a little bit more Chiefs versus Texans, all of that coming up. So that's good to get the final. You know what we haven't done? Do we gotta do Survivor pick since we both tied?
Oh yeah,
do we
you
need
guys
that?
are still going.
Do we need to do that? I gotta know.
Yeah, we'll get Dan's pick and then we'll get yours. And
yeah,
forgot you two are still going.
Yeah, we got to do that. I forgot about that. But we'll get to that coming up as well. But right now, we're going to talk all things Houston Texans. That is right. We're going to talk with Stephanie Stradley, covers the Houston Texans for the Houston Chronicle. And it's always good to get a little bit of behind enemy lines, get to know your foe. So welcome in Steph Stradley. You can follow her on Twitter at Steph Stradley if you want to get more info on the Houston Texans. And Steph, my first question I've got for you is the Mills Mafia. That has not gone well. And also just for this team in general. What were the expectations going into this year for the team and for Mills at the quarterback spot? Did you actually think he was going to be the QB? What kind of were the expectations of Davis Mills?
Well, the very optimistic approach was that Davis Mills showed some things by the end of last season, that he has attributes that you'd like to see in winning quarterbacks, that his college career was kind of derailed with COVID, like a lot of really good players. So he didn't have a lot of experience. And then the thought was, well, we saw enough that we might want to go forward with this, and we're going to fully support him. And see what he can do. And the answer to that so far has not been great. Now, of course, he hasn't had the best situation around him completely. The defense in particular had a very difficult time stopping the run. And if you can't stop the run, then you're in pretty bad trouble. And so then you end up getting behind in games. And really, if you're developing a young quarterback, you don't want to be in a situation where you're getting behind early in games and you can't kind of use the crutch, the running game, to kind of take the heat off of you. So, I mean, it's been a very challenging season. And, you know, he had a challenging season last year, you know, showed some of the attributes that you'd like to see, but so far, the experiment hasn't been great. You know, at first, you know, 2 years ago, there was a lot of talk about competition and all that. This year, they're like, okay, he's the guy, you know, and you know, I'm not sure that there's complete coordination between Lovie Smith's he's the guy point of view and the general manager's view, which is maybe less enthusiastic. Like, he's not against it, but he's not kind of like overly like, hey, if we put our heart and development behind this guy, he's going to succeed. I mean, I don't think that really was his point of view, but I mean, you have to pick something, and some of the choices were very limited. You know, the Texans have had limited draft picks, limited cap space. And so the thought is, you know, maybe next year is the big year where they can put together a roster that makes sense. I mean, they have a lot of really good players, but it's just if elements of your team are not good enough, you just can't compete. And you know, there's a lot of different ways you can point the finger, but I mean, I think the answer to a lot of it is yes. It's not a really great situation for people to succeed. They try to put some things in place that winning teams have, but it just hasn't been enough, and they hadn't had enough resources, and here we are.
When it comes to the quarterback, speaking of, Davis Mills, is it a two quarterback system right now? Jeff Driscoll, he played a lot. I mean, he only threw 6 passes, but he ran the football a bunch. I'm interested in, is this really kind of what they're going to go with for the next couple of weeks? And I think it worked against Dallas because I don't think Dallas was prepared for it. I think Dallas was like, whoa,
Yeah.
what the heck is happening right now? And so I think the Chiefs will be much better prepared for it. But is that what's happening right now in Houston?
Well, when you get to this point in the season and everybody is fighting for their futures, the coaches are, the players are, you just have to find a way. And the way that they were working earlier in the season clearly wasn't working. Jeff Driscoll actually showed some pretty good things in the preseason, but of course that's preseason. And I think it's a reflection of just kind of the compromised situation the Texans are in. Like, the person that is playing in the center for the Texans wasn't supposed to be the starter. Their starter left for personal reasons early in the season. And so, a lot of the things that they were trying to put in place, they just didn't work out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a plan, you get punched in the face, and that's what's happened. So my thought, and this is not really what the team's saying, is, if Davis Mills can kind of stay on schedule, he can look good in spurts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the play breaks down, he doesn't have, the abilities that some of the best ones have of just playing kind of off schedule. Jeff Driscoll has shown some good things playing off schedule. Is he as accurate as the quarterbacks that you want in the NFL? Probably not. Last year there was, they were working him at tight end, which is not really what you think that you're going to be doing with your quarterback. But he is an extraordinarily athletic person. He can, kind of, it's unfair to call it street ball, but yeah, he can play off schedule. And, because he can run effectively at times, it puts some demands on the defense that they don't face when they're facing Davis Mills. And from play to play, you don't know who's going in.
Mm-hmm.
It's, we are at the point of the season where, teams that are this desperate to keep jobs have a big case of the F-its.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going down, we're going to try to take everybody down with us. And, teams like that can be dangerous because they're all fighting for jobs. They're all trying to make good tape. And frankly, I don't know what to expect myself. And I watch them as close as anybody does.
When it comes to the running back spot, man, Dameon Pierce has been awesome. Closing in on 1,000 yards, but he rolls his ankle. Hopefully, it would be great if he get to that 1,000-yard mark. He's been fun to watch just as a casual fan.
Yeah.
He runs very violently. Since he's not going to play in this game, it's a huge blow. Is there anybody else that you go, well, at least we got this guy to fall back on? Because Dameon Pierce was the Texans' offense.
Pretty much. He ran very violently, but, he also had some pretty good vision as well, that you'd like to see. But yeah, if he hits you because he's just kind of a solid guy. There's the view, they're talking about him coming back in a couple of weeks. There's a view here that says, we saw what we need to see from him. Shut him down. Let's save the tire. And, he really didn't get a ton of work in college. So, going to the next level and staying healthy for this many games is a challenge. I don't know what to what we can expect is Rex Burkhead has had a number of kind of like the backup guy, third down guy, show show us how it's done guy,
Mm-hmm.
but he has not been very effective this season. So I would not expect for him to have like a huge breakout game, though they have targeted him a lot. They, they have people that they're going to try. I think it would not surprise me, and I'm not saying anything that, from observation from this week, but it would not surprise me if they're just trying to do all the trickination that they can do.
We're talking with Stephanie Stradley, covers the Houston Texans for the Houston Chronicle. You can follow her on Twitter at Steph Stradley. Let's go to the defense. What's the best part about this Texan defense? If you had to say, yep, this is what they hang their hat on, what would it be?
Well, I mean, Lovey's all about saying that the defense is part of the offense, that he expects for them to get turnovers. And, I am sure that he's plenty familiar with the Chiefs and Andy Reid is really familiar with him. So what they try to do is keep points down and be opportunistic in turnovers. And, there are a number of really good players that they have. Like this team is still playing hard. And if you don't come fully prepared for it, you can experience what Dallas experienced, where it came down to the very last play of the game, or they were going to lose that.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to lose to the Texans for a game that they would probably like to win. So, like, if they will play with some energy now. Whether but the hard part when you are very much relying on kind of working hard and trying hard, but you don't really have the roster. It's hard to maintain that for 4 quarters, or it's also hard to maintain it if your offense can't stay on the field. I mean, I would think that the Texans are going to do the approach that a lot of teams try to do against Kansas City, which is keep Patrick Mahomes on the bench by eating clock on offense as part of their defense, and then keeping their defense fresh enough to maybe, get a tipped, pass or knock the ball out, or any number of kind of quirky things in games that make games go the other way. But, I mean, can the Texans win this game? I guess, if you played it 10,000 times, there would be some scenarios where that would happen. It's not something I'm particularly anticipating, but there are people playing for their jobs and playing for tape. And, this is money to people. So, I mean, nothing in this result would surprise me, really.
When it comes to Lovie Smith, is he going to be the head coach next year? I think maybe it was more so Lovie Smith was going to be just a placeholder until they bring in maybe somebody else. Maybe the new head coach maybe would have a say in who gets drafted first, because you got a couple quarterbacks that could be one or two. What do you think the situation will be with Lovie Smith going forward for 2023?
I really don't have a great sense of that. I mean, I'm the sense that I get is the GM Nick Caserio was a GM that they had targeted even when Bob McNair was alive, and that they really wanted him to be a part of their organization. Lovie Smith was one of those people that leadership had wanted to work with for a long time. I don't think that they anticipated that this season would be as bad as it's become, because there were some times early in the season, they started off with a tie against the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
A tie. I don't think I've seen a tie in person, but I did. So I don't know what the set of circumstances or what the criteria is of what allows him to keep his job. I do know that at least the fan base has no belief that that his leadership is going to get them to the next level. And, there is some, there's some views that, it was a compromise choice. Like, there are some trust issues with the Texans right now about how they do their business and how they make decisions and how much influence the ownership has versus the general manager and how collaborative things are. So there's just a lot of things in flux all at the same time. And, I think most people would say, Lovie Smith, this isn't working. We just need to go again, right? But then in recent years, the Texans have done some kind of quirky things that are very difficult to understand from the outside with the way that they describe or explain what they're doing. I mean, Lovie Smith seemed like a great option compared to having David Culley, who was an incredibly nice person, but clearly was not fully equipped to be a head coach of an NFL team. That was not probably the ideal role for his skill sets. And, but yeah, they're going to have a lot of picks next year. They need to make peace with the number of people in their fan base. I see any number of scenarios that could happen in this off season. It's very interesting to me.
Well, my final two questions for you, we call it two for the road. You can just answer them real short and real brief. Number one, do they go quarterback with their number one pick? If they get the first pick or the second pick, do you think they go quarterback?
They need to have some option at quarterback other than what they have. Whether they go quarterback, it's way too early to say because I don't even know who the head coach is going to be. And that would be something that probably the head coach would want to care about. I mean, this might be one of those drafts where, some of the defensive talent, for example, is so good at the top of the draft, you might want to go that way. And the Texans in the past have gone that way. Like they have been in existence for 20 years, less time than Tom Brady has been in the league. In that time period, they've had the first pick a number of times. The first time they had the number one pick, they went David Carr, and people watched David Carr play from 2002 to 2006. That's a long time to be spending money watching a quarterback not succeed. And then in other times, they went defense with the first pick. Oh, and when they went David Carr, they passed up on Julius Peppers. And so, then in other times that they had the first pick, they picked defensive players in Mario Williams and J.D. Clowney. Those picks also were kind of mixed picks. And part of those things are, it's hard for any one player to kind of overcome a set of circumstances that are not ideal. And you just really have to make sure that everybody is on the same page. But, as you don't have to have the first pick to get a great quarterback.
That is true.
But you do need to have a staff that can maximize talents. And then you need a player that has just great ability. And I have to say, I'm bringing my son to this game, who is a Texas Tech Red Raider. So he's very excited to see this particular matchup after following the Texans his whole life and seeing Patrick Mahomes in person.
All righty. My last question, with it being the holidays and Christmas coming up, I got to know, what's your favorite holiday or Christmas movie?
Oh, geez. If I had to pick one, I mean, I like different ones for different reasons, but Elf. If you can watch the history of how Elf was put together, there's also some written oral histories of how it was put together. It's just an amazing that they were able to put that movie together and kind of intentionally create a new Christmas classic. I mean, it's fun.
I'm gonna have to search that out because it's my wife's favorite Christmas movie. So I might have to check that out. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Enjoy the game coming up on Sunday.
Thank you. And if any of your listeners are coming to the game in person, we have a welcoming tailgate at the northeast corner of the of the Platinum Lot at NRG Stadium. And Christmas tailgate is always fun and welcoming to people who are generally cool.
Well, we appreciate the heads up. Thank you so much.
You have good holidays.
Stephanie Stradley on all things Texans football. I mean, she's right. I mean, the future probably doesn't bode well for Lovie Smith. I don't know where they're going to go. They cannot draft a defensive player. I don't care how good Jalen Carter is. I don't care how good Will Anderson is. You have to take either CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. End of discussion.
100%.
End of discussion.
Yeah. End of discussion. Question's over. You're taking one of those two guys.
Yes.
Because that's the position you have to get right.
Yeah. Speaking of Bryce Young, we talked about this 2 hours ago. The Athletic said as of Friday, Bryce Young and Will Anderson are going to play. But it's still, 15 days away.
Things can change.
Well, coming from ESPN, Alabama is not expected to have any players opt out of the Sugar Bowl. Both Bryce Young and Will Anderson will play in the New Year's Eve game. Chris Lowe corroborated the report and further revealed that Nick Saban revealed none of Alabama's players are going to opt out. They will have 4 first-round picks. Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Brian Branch, and maybe 3. I don't know if Gibbs is going to end up a first-round pick. I am happy about this. I am. Because I want to see where K-State stacks up here.
Yeah.
They're both going to try to win the game. And I'll be... I am very, protect your team. You committed to the team. You need to finish out the team, right?
Yeah.
If I were Bryce Young and Will Anderson, I would not be playing in this game.
No, I wouldn't.
I would not be playing in this game.
I wouldn't.
And to me, Bryce Young doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. He has won a Heisman. He took Alabama all the way to the playoffs, last year. What sucks for Alabama is they were 2 singular plays away from being in the playoff. I mean, singular plays, USC wasn't a single play away. USC got smoked in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee got hammered by Georgia.
Yes.
They lost to, who else did Tennessee lose to? South Carolina. Alabama lost on a 2-point conversion to LSU.
Yes.
And they lost to Tennessee on a last-second field goal.
Yes.
That's 4 points in 2 games. They lost 3 because it was tie ball game and Tennessee went down and kicked a field goal when it was tied. And then, Bryce Young doesn't owe him anything. He gave you everything. If I was a Bama fan, my opinion on Bryce Young would not change. Not change at all. Much like if Deuce Vaughn, if he comes back next year, goes all the way, and then doesn't play the bowl game, man, Deuce Vaughn doesn't owe you K-State fans. If Deuce Vaughn wants to leave after this year, Deuce Vaughn has given you everything. You should, thank him and offer him a Kit Kat if you see Deuce Vaughn, because he likes Kit Kats.
He does love Kit Kats.
I would not play, because if Will Anderson, we saw this. Come on, Fulton, Michigan defensive end.
David
Ojabo, right? Now, he got hurt in the offseason.
Well, he got hurt in the
pro day.
He got hurt on his pro day. Yeah. But I mean, for Bryce Young, Matt Corral's the example. Matt Corral played in the bowl game last year. Suffered a serious injury.
Mm-hmm.
Lowered his draft stock. Have barely gotten to play this year, partly because of the injury, partly because of other things.
Where did he get drafted to?
Carolina.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we got our survivor picks.
Yes, survivor picks are in for Jake and Dan.
Yeah. We have come to determine if both Dan and I lose,
then I am the winner because I only picked one loser.
that's
Nope,
not,
that is what we decided. I'm the winner.
no, that is not going to happen.
That is what's happening.
So what we will do, Dan is going with the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
Which is a good pick because they're taking on the Jets with what looks like Zach Wilson.
Yep.
You want to talk about a good defense versus a really good offense? Jets and Lions.
Yep.
That'll be a good one. I'm going with the sentimental pick. I want Carolina to keep it rolling. They are taking Pittsburgh at home. So I am hoping that the Fighting Sam Darnolds can get a win against Pittsburgh. So kind of similar when it comes to the games. You know, you got a crappy offense in Pittsburgh and a crappy offense in the Jets that both of our teams are going up against. Like the Lions, the Jets offense sucks, and the Steelers offense stinks. I mean, Mason Rudolph might start. We don't know yet. It's either Rudolph or Trubisky. So the winner will be decided if somebody wins. If not, we'll keep on going. But if we both lose, it's over. We're done because it's gone far too long. So that is what is going to be there. We're going to get to on second thought, which honestly, you and I both thought no chance that Bryce Young and Will Anderson are going to play.
No.
I think I said when we did odds makers, I think I said like 5% that Will Anderson would play.
I said just like 30 minutes ago on this program, ain't no way those two are playing. Spoiler alert, I think you guys know what my on second thought is this week.
I also got another one, but I'm so glad. I'm pumped for that. I really am. Coming up next on second thought, and then we'll talk a little Chiefs. On second thought, which is our mulligan, I didn't mean to take your on second thought. By the way,
You didn't take it, and also you no way you could have known, but it was it had been decided. I've been wrong about that's the biggest thing I've been wrong about this week. Yeah, that's like that simple. I did not think there was a singular way that Bryce Young or Will Anderson was playing. There's a reason I say when Jay was talking about it earlier, and I was like, "Oh, they are for now." I'm like, "That's changing." Like, there's not a universe where those two guys play.
Bryce Young, Will Anderson coming back. Is that going to affect the line? You think
it already has? This is from our good friend Kellis Robinette, and let me find
because it was. I'm going to look on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Speaking of FanDuel. One of the things I love about the NFL, that I'm always finding new players or game props that I like, and you can bet on Bryce Young in the game against Kansas State. You combine these props with other bets from the same game and score an even bigger payout. Chiefs versus Texans. This is a hard one. I'm going to go over on Isaiah Pacheco. I'm going to go under on Houston points. You know, that might be a bad bet because Chiefs defense stinks. And I think Travis Kelce is going to get back in the end zone. Same game parlays are just one of the reasons I bet with FanDuel. Easy to use, live betting, the odds boost. The boost hit last night. Hope you got in that. Kittle and McCaffrey scoring a touchdown and over on the yards for McCaffrey. There's no feeling like laying a same game parlay bet. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up with the promo code JAKE, that's JAKE, for your no sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's promo code JAKE. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Must be 21 present in Kansas. Online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable free bets and survive 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with the Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem, getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit casegamblinghelp.com.
Well done.
It was 3.5 this morning when I looked at it. Okay.
Yep.
What is it now?
Per our good friend Kellis Robinette, it has moved to 5.5.
It has. Boy, if you bet that early on, that sucks for you if you bet on K-State.
It has moved 2 points since it was announced that Bryce Young and Will Anderson are going to play.
Yeah.
2 points. That is huge.
K-State money line plus 188. Boy, if you bet Bama to cover the 3.5, you're feeling good. Yeah. I'm glad they are, man. I'm really glad they are.
Yeah. I respect it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. If I was them, I'd sit out.
I would not either.
But
if that makes me a bad teammate, so be it. But I mean, for Bryce
I'm
Young,
about to go make a bag in the NFL. I am not risking that bag for a bowl game.
I think it's more risky for Will Anderson than it is for Bryce Young.
It is more risky for Will than Bryce because quarterbacks are going to get more of a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Will Anderson,
they really are.
He tears his ACL. He goes from a top 5 pick to second round.
I mean, Jalen Smith was going to be a first-round pick out of Notre Dame.
Top 15 pick.
Top 15 pick. A lot of money. He destroyed his knee in the bowl game.
He's not. Is he out of the NFL right now?
I think he's still with the Giants. I think he's hanging out with the Giants right now. But his entire NFL career got changed.
Jake
he destroyed his knee.
Jake Butt from Michigan.
Yeah.
He's out of the NFL right now, I believe.
Yeah. I think you are correct. Like, I get if people want to argue, you don't leave your teammates behind, you play for your team, you know, you can always get hurt at any moment. The bowl game's not any different. All that. I legitimately understand and hear all the arguments too, you know, why some people want these kids to keep playing in these games. But I am never, ever, ever going to judge somebody putting their financial future ahead of a game where they're not making money. Like,
the money game to me, sorry to interrupt you, the money game, you know, they're not making money in the bowl game. That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me one bit. What bothers me is, and this is where I think it would be hard, and this is, I've kind of got the Deuce Vaughn approach. Deuce Vaughn is not going to be a first or second round pick. No. Okay, he's not. I don't think he is.
Probably won't.
But you've been to battle with these guys all year long, and now you're going to bail on them. That's where, like, I couldn't do that to, you know, like, I lived with football players my entire college life. Like, my best friends, still to this day, you know, I lived with a couple of them. I'd have a hard time looking at them in the face and being like, sorry, man, I can't do it. But I would try to hope that they would understand. But in that locker room, it depends on the locker room.
Yeah.
But that's hard. It really is.
Yeah.
If the locker room was not great and that kind of stuff, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah, you out.
I'm out to the dreezy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's one of those things
it's
to
not
where
as clear cut to me. It really isn't.
And I will say this: I don't necessarily think it's clear cut. I think it's a very tough decision to make with whether for these kids, for a lot of them, whether they're going to play in the bowl or they're going to move on. But so I will never ever judge somebody for putting their future ahead of one game, and that's what it is. And mad respect to Bryce Young and Will Anderson saying we're going to play in this game because both of them are gone.
Oh yeah.
If it goes beyond, if either of them come back to school for another year, I will legitimately say their decision is stupid. I will openly say they're being stupid.
If you're a first round pick, you got to go.
Yeah.
If you're a first round pick,
you go. You get out of here.
Yeah.
Because you never know when that injury is going to come, and you would rather hope that injury comes when you've secured the NFL bag and not when you're doing NIL money in college. NIL has helped. It has leveled the field a little bit. It is going to incentivize some kids to stay because they can still make some money.
That's Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah,
that's
where Deuce goes because he actually can weigh, and it's close enough on the amount of balance of the money between what he would make in the NFL and what he can make with some NIL coming back here. But with a guy like Bryce Young and Will Anderson, who are going to be first-round picks, for a guy like Bryce Young, who might be the number one overall pick, I respect him playing one more game, but you don't do anything after that. You finish that game, and you go. You go, you get your money, you go live your life, you go set up you and your family for generational wealth.
My on second thought, I was wrong on the Chiefs. I said the Chiefs did the same thing they always do. They had a turnover. They made some stupid play calls. The offensive line couldn't protect, and the defensive line got no pressure. Yeah, I was wrong on that one. Looking back on this thing, the Chiefs had 6 sacks, and they had, I believe, 10 pressures in the game. Well, if you have 10 pressures in the game and you got home 6 times, that's pretty darn good. Considering the Broncos offense had, I believe, 35 passing attempts, and you're getting there pretty much a third of the time. That was wrong. The Chiefs got pressure. They did, which is that means that's a bad thing for the secondary because you allowed the Denver Broncos without their best player to get open and score 4 touchdowns. So I want to give apology to the pass rush that got home. They did. They got enough pressures to the quarterback to justify that it was not just the pass rush. Sometimes we get a little bit what's the word I'm looking? We get a little bit too critical. You're not going to get pass rush on every play. You're not. You want to get there more often than not. And the Chiefs did get there more often than maybe what most teams would do. 6 sacks in a game, plus a few more pressures, forcing Russell Wilson out of the pocket. Yeah, that was a better game for the defensive line and the pass rush than I was there. So that would be my no question on second thought, plus Bryce Young and Will Anderson. Coming up next, we'll get to our final thoughts on the Chiefs and the Texans here on Mic'd Up. The final few minutes of this week for the show. Jake and Fulton Caster with you. If you missed anything, head to our website, to our podcast page, 580www.com. Click on the podcast tab. You can check out all the shows. Also, you can go to YouTube. Very simple. You can watch the show coming up. You got 580 Sports Talk with Dan and Brennan. That will be on our website, 580www.com. Right smack dab in the middle. We got some hoops coming up tonight. 5:30 pregame coverage, 5:45 with the tip-off from Seaman, the Viking Gymnasium. We need to come up with a moniker for that. It can't just be Viking Gymnasium. That's lame.
I'll get to workshopping on that.
Because
I agree. Because like Topeka High's got the dungeon, Topeka West got the Charge Dome, Shawnee Heights we got the Bird Cage,
the House of Blues for Washburn Road.
Yeah, we got the House of Blues.
Yeah. What else?
Anything we're missing?
Oh, Highland Park. It's Ken Darting Gymnasium.
Yeah.
But they call it the pressure cooker.
Yep.
I like that one. We got to come up with something for Seaman.
We'll figure it out.
What's the name of a Viking ship? What do they call those?
It depends.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. They technically differ. I can't remember the name of their most common ship.
A long ship. That's lame. Long ship, also called Viking ship. Type of a sail or vessel that predominated in northern European waters. It's kind of lame. Dragon ships? That's kind of cool. That's way
cool.
better.
Dragon ship's awesome.
We got to come up with something, though. I don't know what it is, but we got to. Chiefs versus Texans. We both got the Chiefs winning. Do you have the Chiefs winning by 14?
No, I have the Texans covering. 10-point spreads are very difficult. 10-point spreads are very difficult.
Think?
Yes. Like, as the year has gone on, like 10-point spreads are hard to cover.
I'm with you.
So that's why I go Houston. 10-point spreads are hard to cover.
Mm-hmm.
So I go Houston.
Yeah, I would too. I wouldn't bet on it, though. I mean, there is something to say. Any double-digit spread you bet on the team with the points, you're going to end up making money. But you have to consistently do it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to consistently do it. And if you do it, you will make money off of it. You can't think short-term by single game. You got to think year law when it comes to wagering against double-digit spreads.
That's fair.
I do think that's the case. I just want them to. I just want the Chiefs to not turn it over. Just have a game where you play solid.
You might be asking for too much, Jake.
What is more likely to happen? The Chiefs have a good tackling day, or the Chiefs don't turn it over?
Oh boy, that's actually tough.
I think it's the turnover. I really do.
I think you might be right.
I think it's the turnover. But
yeah,
here's the Texans have no dudes. Like,
yeah,
if it's Damian Pierce playing, no, I would take definitely the turnovers. But they have nobody good right now on the roster. That is a crappy roster. It really. How many picks do they have coming up in the draft? Do they have?
I don't think they have a stockpile. I don't know if they have too many rounds with too many multiples.
Let's see. I'm going to go to the best website ever, which is called Tankathon.
Tankathon is great.
Fantastic website. It gives you the NFL draft. They have two of them. Obviously, duh. They got their own pick, and then they get the one from Cleveland. Duh.
Oh, yeah.
So right now they have pick 1 and pick 12. They need Cleveland to keep stinking. Man, do you know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? There's 7 teams that are 5 and 8. Cleveland right now could end up being 14th, or you could end up being 8th. How about that? That's pretty impressive. From the Big O Tires text line, Let's be real. You guys are more happy because you believe K-State will get clobbered if all those Bama guys play. Just say it. You're all KU fans anyway. Now, I will say this. Fulton is an unabashed KU fan
There are
because he
two
went
KU
to KU.
fans a part of this double shows. That's me and Brendan because we went to school there.
That's interesting because my allegiance is not with KU or K-State. And I never went to KU or K-State. I never was, as I've mentioned this before, my parents were not even, I'm the first generation Kansan, okay?
Yeah.
My parents moved here in the 70s from North Dakota. If anything, I got shoved North Dakota State Bison stuff down my throat.
Go
so
Bison.
That's the reason why. It's funny is all my friends think I'm like a huge K-Stater. All my friends do. I'm like, I want both of them to win, or more importantly, I just want both of them to be interesting, to be honest with you. Yes, you're a KU fan, no question. That's the first time I've been labeled a KU fan in a bit.
I'll also just add this real quick before we get to our final break. K-State winning is best for business, so it actually is better for me if they beat Alabama. And the reason I'm happy Bryce and Will are playing is because it's going to be a better game. It's not about K-State getting clobbered. I could not care less. K-State winning is best for business, so I want K-State to win.
Thank you for the Big O Tires text line. They're the best. Goxted ship.
We're starting to get into speaking Scandinavian, and I'm not going to do that.
Let's do it. Who else we got here? We've got Goxted ship. There is the Oseberg ship. I can't even pronounce that one. We're getting some names. I like it. Text line always comes through. Coming up next, we'll wrap things up with the mic drop. Finishing things up here on this Friday. All right, Fulton, what do you got?
Chiefs, tackle, please. So I stop pulling my hair out of my head. Simple as that.
Very simple. Anyone who doesn't think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, what's it like to be wrong? Because Die Hard, and everyone I asked them, is Home Alone a Christmas movie? They're like, well, of course. I said, is Die Hard? No. Literally the same movie. set around Christmas, involving Christmas, and Home Alone has nothing to do about Christmas. It literally doesn't. It's a kid who's trying to pulverize two guys trying to steal from them. How is that Christmas? The difference is John McClane kills people.
If it wasn't a
Kevin
kids movie,
does not.
Kevin would also kill people.
That'll do it for this week of Mic'd Up. Head to our website, 580wibw.com. Have yourselves a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday.